Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is that time of year again for the top 10 albums of 2022. Sorry, I watched a lot of Sama's 6'6". He's a crazy good drummer. This year, we got back on track, which made me very, very happy. We didn't review every album I wanted to review, but we got to a lot of reviews. And thankfully, we're going to maintain that going forward. Just especially, I think I found my stride of how I want to do these reviews, and it just makes things a lot easier. But there's so many albums I reviewed this year that, while I do have a top 10, definitely have a solid top 10 of what I wanted to put on here, we definitely have some honorable mentions. I'm going to separate the two honorable. I'm going to separate the two honorable mentions. The first honorable mention we have is Lamb of God, Omens, solid metal album from the Goats or the Lambs. Next up, we have Ghosts, Impera. My original review, I didn't really give it that great of a review, but on repeated listens, I actually grew to like it a lot more than I did. I don't know how I missed Spillwaves. At number 3 of Rammstein, Zeit. Just an absolutely beautiful album. If they're the last one, they went out with a bang. Next up, we have Black Keys, Dropout Boogie. Started off strong, it did fizzle out at the end, let me down, but it's a solid album. And the last honorable mention, because it's not a full album, it's just an EP, and I don't really add EPs to the lists, Spirit Box, Rotoscope, just... This next set of honorable mentions are albums that were actually on the top 10 list, but were pushed out by other albums. And first one we have is Napalm Death, Resentment is Always Seismic. Heavy as hell album. Great. I love that album. It's a great fun time, all up in your face. Next, Steve Vai and Violet. It's just crazy beautiful album. The guitar work Steve did on that album is magnificent. Next, we have Meshuggah, Immutable, just gent gods. That's all you need to know. Next up, we have Surprise, Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. I said this multiple times. Just because I was kind of harsh in some parts of that album, I still love that album. They're one of my favorite bands. Are tied with Collective Soul, Styx, and Themselves for my favorite band of all time. And I love that album. It just didn't make the top 10. Next is Slipknot, The End So Far. I love me some Slipknot. It's a solid Slipknot album. Yeah, the last three is probably my least favorite because I love The Gray Chapter and We Are Not Your Kind. Those two albums, so damn good. Still, The End So Far, solid. Next, one of the more recent ones we did when we were doing a little catch-up, Disturbed, Divisive, Nostalgia Trip. I love Disturbed. They kicked ass in that album. They got Ann Wilson on it. What's not to love? And my last honorable mention, this album just barely missed out being on the top 10, and it kind of hurts my soul, but I wasn't going to force anything. Speaking of souls, it's Collective Soul, Vibrating. They haven't missed a step, and they still kick ass, and they're a great live show. If you ever get a chance to go see them, go see it. It's a fun show. Collective Soul rounds out our honorable mentions to the top 10. At number 10, we have The Love Project from Dave Grohl. I originally put this down as the Foo Fighters, but after doing more research and comments, because I'm still getting comments on the video, even though they've seen other people made this comment, doesn't really matter. Dream Widow just had no business being anywhere near as amazing as it was. It's heavy, it kicks ass, riffs, vocals, drums, everything in that album is just so good. If you haven't checked it out and you love really heavy metal, go check out Dream Widow. At number 9, an album a lot of people would not expect to be on here, Kiefer Sutherland, Bloor Street. Is it the greatest musically? No. Is it the greatest vocally? No. It's how this album makes me feel. Just the way Kiefer does his music just resonates with me, man. It just hits right. Simple, easy listening to throw on the record player, just chill out and relax, have a little bit of whiskey, maybe have a little cigar, go sit up by the fire, just enjoy yourself. It's just perfect. Just perfect for that situation. At number 8, Sabaton, War to End All Wars. High energy, epic music, just everything about that album is awesome. And I haven't gone back to listen to it recently, but it's just... Sabaton is Sabaton, man, and they are just one of the best bands out there, and they're getting a lot of love, and I love it. And just, if you like history lessons with a good metal twist, Sabaton's the band for you. At number 7, Returning to the top 10 list once again, we have 1st of October with Chaos. Chaos is the perfect title for this album, and they keep getting better and better. I say this every single time we talk about 1st of October. They are the epitome of what music is supposed to be. Sitting with your bandmates, just writing music, having a grand old time. Put a little timetable, put on a little time restraint twist, and you have yourself some fun. The fact they're able to produce music like this and the timetable they give themselves is nothing short of extraordinary, and Chaos deserves to be on the top 10. I just love you, Rob. Love you, Andrew. Mwah! At number 6, this album at one point was actually my number 1 album of the year. We have Tears for Fears, The Tipping Point. This album blew me away because I had no expectations going into it, and then it blew my mind. It was one of the first albums this year, wasn't it? It was a long time ago when I did this album, and man, it's just so good. Monster keeps popping in my head every now and again too. It's just infectious. It's awesome. There's nothing to fear but fear itself, and Tears for Fears belongs in this top 10. If you haven't listened to this album yet, please go check it out. It's just so good. At number 5, the surprise album that people thought was going to be a joke, but really the pure emotion on display. And yes, me being a mythical beast may flow a little bit, but honestly, I don't think it does, because even without being a mythical beast, James and the Shame, Human Overboard is an amazing, amazing, amazing album. Subject matter that I'm relatable to, and even though I'm not through, I still feel the emotions coming through Rhett. It's just Human Overboard. If you haven't listened to it, you think, like a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's just the guy from Good Mythical Morning, it's just gonna be a silly comedy album. It's just, please give Human Overboard a chance. It made me cry, so that's saying something. It's just, please listen to Human Overboard if you haven't. Yes, it is a country album in a way, but it's palatable country to people who don't like country. I love country for what I do. Even people I know who do not like country love this album. It's fantastic. At number 4, we have Joe Satriani, Elephant of Mars. This is the best Satriani album in the decade, if not more. A lot of his recent albums were just kind of, run the mill, him having great riff, him make good solo, song, end. This album really made me go back to like Flying in the Blue Dream and the extremist times of where each song is, you can feel it super thought out and the emotions coming through his strings. It's just, this album was amazing. And like I said, it's the best he's done in a long time. And when he's my favorite guitarist of all time and he makes the best album I feel in a long time, it's going to be on this list. And just, I love me some Satch, man. I mean, we look the same. I mean, I have a beard. Imagine if Satch had a beard. That'd be weird. At number 3, we have the Alter Bridge, Pawns and Kings. This album was crazy, crazy good. It's just everything, because just vocals, soaring leads, riffs, rhythms, just music going all over the place. They were playing with us pawns because they are the kings. And Alter Bridge, I love you, man. Some people don't give you a chance because, oh my God, they're just Creed Part 2. No! Even though Creed is awesome too, for what they are. Not anymore because they're not around anymore. But with arms wide open, I love Alter Bridge. Blackbird's still one of my favorite songs of all time, and this album does not disappoint me in the slightest. They deserve to be at number 3. At number 2, we have an album sneaking in here at the end of the year because I did this review not too long ago. Amon Amarth, The Great Heathen Army. Obviously, I love me some Viking metal, and Amon Amarth just did that to me. Just, that's all I have to say. I love Amon Amarth. Obviously, even before I was really into Viking metal, and even before I was into the whole Viking culture, and like really dove in and like really started to understand it, I loved Amon Amarth. I love them even more now, and they still keep shredding us and sending us to Valhalla with our head between our knees, going, "Yes, we deserve to be here." But man, they kicked our ass on the way. And at number 1, I said this was my favorite album when I reviewed it, and it did not move once it was there. Techno from Electric Callboy. I still, to this day, have never had this much fun listening to an album where 1 minute I'm dancing and having a grand old time and laughing my ass off to just thrashing my ass off. These dudes, they're going to go places, man. This album, I really think took them off, like really put them in the mainstream eye, and people are like, oh crap, these guys are serious. These dudes are going in for the long haul. Electric Callboy just, I found, I got into this year. They're new to me in a way. Mainly thanks to Nick Nocturnal. If it wasn't for him, I probably never even heard of him. But man, techno's amazing, man. It deserves to be number one. It just, again, no album has made me feel the way this album has. Just between headbanging, dancing, having a grand old time. And that's what music's all about, man. It's about how it makes you feel. And techno made me happy. Guys, let me know what your top 10 albums are below. Let me know how stupid you think I may be. What do you think should have been, bumped back into the list? What do you think should be off the list? Have you checked out all these albums? If you haven't, please go check them out. They deserve it. Everyone, even the honorable mentions. Please, 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 please. Just love music. Why can't we all just be friends and get along? Why must we spread hate? Please don't hate. Unless you listen to Slayer, then hate worldwide. Ultimate pump up song. Everyone, I love you so much. As always, the name's David. You call me Fenrirock. See you next year. Take care.